We're doing a bit of fan fiction, imagining what a new series of Stargate would look like, and we came up with the SGC. I've already talked about 2 seasons I'd like to do, but I kind of forgot to talk about the first series a bit more. So here we go. Welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So if you are a regular Sidetracker, you'll know that we've come up with this idea. It was actually Harris's idea, friend of the channel, the young American. And we're doing a bit of a fan fiction series called the SGC. The idea being that the series would be based in and around Stargate Command, but then it could branch off into lots of other directions. We've already thought about season 2, which would wander off and we would get to see Atlantis again. We've already thought about season 3, where we'd go and save Eli from the Destiny and revisit the SGU. But I might have forgotten a little bit to talk more about the opening series. And I'm going to steal very heavily from a script that I got told about that was actually in development, possibly written by Dean Devlin a couple of years ago, that Amazon have decided to shred. So the Stargate Command opening season really does have to set up this new franchise idea that is going to be a bit different to what we've seen previously with Stargate, but more in line with sort of more modern streaming shows. I envisage seasons that are 10 episodes that, as I say, circle in and around the SGC, but that go off in lots of different directions. So a little bit like Star Wars at the moment, where we see Mandalorian, then Boba Fett, but the characters from Mandalorian are in Boba Fett, and so on and so on. This idea is basically an evolution of that, in that we just get more of an MCU style feel of a larger universe, and that each season will drop in and out of different aspects of that. So how do we set this series up? Well, I actually have this idea and this opening sequence based on a script that got banded around a little while ago, whereas we see the Stargate in a big open space. It looks more like an airport or something. The Stargate sort of activates and lights up, but doesn't really open properly. And then we just see a person appear. The person initially is sort of like a ghost, like grey, and you can't really focus on him, like he's blurry. But then as he steps forwards, he sort of crisps out and he becomes a human-looking creature. We then flip to Daniel Jackson, who is now the civilian leader of the SGC, but he starts hearing voices in his head. He hears a voice of maybe Omar or somebody else, and the voice is just saying, "Don't trust him. Don't trust him." Don't forget that if you enjoy the content, you can hit the join button and become a fully fledged side tracker. That really helps out the channel. You can go to side-track.com. There's loads of like merchandisey things on there and a load of new designs coming very soon. Also, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you miss none of our new videos, as well as the Sidetrack Sides channel. We then cut to a new opening sequence, and we get to see the, Stargate and all the characters and everything else. In my show idea, though, then, Daniel goes to meet this person. He's in a holding cell. They're interviewing him, and he says that he is a furling. Now, that immediately, they think, oh, brilliant, furlings, pacifists. We love these guys. And we've never got to see them before, so we get to learn more about them. But the voice in Daniel Jackson's head is still saying, don't trust him. Don't trust him. Now, conversations then in this first part of this series between Daniel and the furling will allow us to tell all the story about how we've got from the end of the SGU to today, how the Stargate is now no longer a secret, and how people are traveling amongst the stars. I want to think about us building colonies within other parts of the galaxy and us actually trying to bring the people of the galaxy that were spread out by the Goa'uld back together again. How perhaps we've created alliances with the Jaffa Nation, but that's very shaky ground. I think the Jaffa Nation and the Lucian Alliance would probably be in conflict. How we maybe have an alliance with the remaining Tolan. How we've constructing a fleet of BC 304s, BC 305s, and maybe even about to launch a BC 306, but that's for a later episode. The furling doesn't know where the Asgard are, and he's asking about the Nox, and Daniel doesn't know why, so he is sparing on the information. But the furling seems to know an awful lot about their technology and keeps asking questions about their position in the galaxy today. Now, over a couple of episodes, I'd like to see a couple of different teams come in and out. I'd like to see us going through the gate. I think I want to explore, as I say, where the universe is now. So I think we would be building quite large colonies on other planets. We have planets where there are large numbers of people. Some of those have very little technology. So I could see us building schools and hospitals and all this sort of thing. But also just the early shoots of an actual large-scale interplanetary alliance starting to form between humanity with Earth at its center. I think I would love to see the BC-304s, BC-305s that we talked about, and just get a feel of where Stargate is today. But that is where the risk of this series comes, and we've talked about this lots of times on the channel, that it's got to stay grounded, though. It's got to stay within the realms of what would make sense. We're only talking about maybe 12 years further down the line from what we got to see at the start of Stargate Universe, so we've got to be careful we don't go too far. But the main element of this series, as I say, is about this furling character and his conversations with Daniel. It's going to, I think, in the end of that series, get to a point where the furling tries to steal some information and some data. We know and don't trust him, so we catch him. But he does end up escaping with very advanced technology that we don't understand. I could see a scene maybe where he's trying to steal data and we maybe like use the anti-aura technology on him, thinking that that will hold him. And it does to a degree, but he somehow manages to adapt to that technology. And I could see the final scene where the gate just lights up. Nothing happens, but he just sort of like turns into like that ghosty figure again and disappears, stealing secret information and important information about the SGC. Now, a lot of people have said, we can't do this. We can't have the furlings as a bad guy. But we don't know enough about the furlings to decide whether they would be a potential villain or not. We know about the furlings that they tried to create a utopian society, that then the Goa'uld stuck that down suicide plant in, basically, and everybody killed everybody else. We know that the furlings build things like the weather changing technology, but we don't know really much about them other than that. We think we might have seen them in 1 or 2 episodes of Stargate and Stargate Atlantis, but we don't know for sure. So that gives us a whole opportunity to create an entirely new villain, basically, here, based on a character we already know a bit about. And no, they won't look like evil Ewoks. I actually think in this series we should see the furlings appear in lots of different guises. I would love to see that they maybe don't have one specific look, that it's dependent on where they are and what they're doing. Maybe they're shapeshifters. I'd love to see that. Now, where have they been? Why have they just returned? We are going to find out a version of this story that the furling would tell Daniel. I think he would tell them that they left the galaxy after the Goa'uld. They were pacifists. The only way that they could defeat the Goa'uld was by destroying them. They didn't want to do that, so they were forced to leave. I'm going to actually say, though, that in the next video I do, that will be based on Series 4, we're going to see the real reason why the furlings left. And even though the story that Daniel will hear in the first season will be kind of true, it won't be the full truth. So, guys, get into the comments. Tell me what you think about my little idea. I know I'm only sketching out an outline here, and there'd need to be a lot more in there for a 10 or 12 episode series, but that's where you come in. What sort of episodes do you think would fit within this story idea of this introduction to Stargate Command? And where could we go from there? Get in the comments and tell me all of your brilliant ideas. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit that join button and become a fully fledged side tracker. As always, guys, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.